Since Rahu is your karma for this innings of your life, and Jupiter is your wisdom and the biggest planet giving prosperity to you, it's important that you get this placement right. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We did this series of planets in 12 houses from the moon. We completed that series, and the second series that we have started is a series of planets in the 12 houses from Rahu. And why we are doing this particular series, planets in 12 houses from Rahu? Because Rahu is your karma for this life, for this innings. And planets placement in different houses from Rahu will manifest that house's results with perspective to Rahu in your horoscope, and will bring about different manifestations, different effects, different results. And that's why it's important that you not only look at planetary placements in 12 houses from the moon, which is your attention, which is also your focus, which is your emotions, which is your attachment, but you also look at the planetary placement from Rahu, because how you will be manifesting the karma for this life specifically connected to that house will depend on in what placements the other 8 planets, in what energies they are placed from Rahu in your horoscope. So let's jump in and understand Jupiter when it's placed in 12 different houses from Rahu, what kind of results it will manifest for you. Now, when Jupiter is in the first house from Rahu, or conjunct with Rahu, or in the same house with Rahu, this is also the Guru Chandal dosha or the Guru Chandal yoga. So obviously the influence of Rahu and Jupiter on each other is also very strong. I have already done a separate video on the Guru Chandal dosha or yoga, whatever you want to call it. You have to see it more as a dosha rather than a yoga. So please do see that video also for more in-depth analysis of what the Guru Chandal dosha or the Rahu Jupiter conjunction throughout as its effects. However, now that we are already on this particular topic, so when Jupiter and Rahu get together, Rahu is your hunger, your greed, your ability to work out of boundaries, use unusual means, use unusual effort, unorthodox materialistic tendencies also in you, the shrewdness also in you, maybe a little mischief also in you, diplomacy also in you. So when Jupiter and Rahu come together, Jupiter being large-hearted, wise, having a strong foundation in faith, in belief, in experiential learning, in spirituality, in trying to expand its attributes, trying to expand its vision. So Jupiter's manifestation is affected by Rahu's hunger, greed, using unusual means. So this person, while he or she wants to be on the track of being wise, taking wise decisions, taking the appropriate decisions, taking ethical decisions, not willing to budge, being patient enough to take the time to be able to get results for them. But Rahu is not an energy which wants to keep quiet. Rahu is the shortcut, the tact, the tendency to hurry up, wanting quick results. So many times with the Guru Chandal dosha of the Rahu and Jupiter conjunction, there is the duality in this mind. So there is one part of your mind which is saying, should I do this? This is so good. And if I do this, this will be very good. But Jupiter is the counter energy to that greed of Rahu in your brain, which is asking you to take the shortcut or go in that direction. Jupiter says, yeah, maybe this may serve me in the short run, but in the long run it may not be good for me. What if I am caught out? What if this goes wrong? So Jupiter is the tendency to take wise decisions and to take it easy, to not move away from your learning, your faith, your belief in the goodness, in the ethical path, in the teachings of the gurus, in the teaching of people who are wiser than you, whereas Jupiter is the shortcut. So many times with this conjunction, specifically wherever, in whichever house Rahu and Jupiter conjunction comes about, there is this duality, there is also this confusion. But this can also be very good conjunction for you if there is enough degree difference between Rahu and Jupiter. This is not a bad yoga, or this is not a bad dosha, whatever you want to call it. If the degree difference between Rahu and Jupiter is between 9 to 15 degrees, which means it is not less than 9 degrees and it is not more than say 13 or 14 degrees. So if it's in that window between 9 to say 14 degrees, so the degree difference is 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or 14, then this is a pretty potent yoga also. So you are able to then combine the unusual tendencies, the tact and diplomacy, the shrewdness of Rahu and the wisdom of Jupiter. So usually this can also be a good yoga if the degree difference is not too less, where Rahu is actually eclipsing Jupiter, then this can give you very, very good results in whichever house it is, using unusual means, but also the wisdom, bigger prosperity, bigger gains can also come to you when you are able to combine and balance between the Rahu and Jupiter energies when they are in the same house with each other, conjunction with each other, or first placement from each other. Now when Jupiter goes in the second house from Rahu, this I find is a very good position in the placements of Rahu and Jupiter. When they are looking at Jupiter being 12 places from Rahu, this is one of the better placements for Jupiter. The reason being is the second house from your Rahu's placement. Rahu is the karma for this life, and when Jupiter goes into the second house from Rahu, then in the karma that you're doing in your life, how you are able to get the resources from that karma, resources, livelihood, your income, your tendency to be able to get higher manifestations through how you will be able to earn. So when Jupiter goes into the second house from Rahu, the Rahu's greed, the hunger, wanting to get success, wanting to get good results, wanting to get material success will egg you on, and Jupiter's wisdom will point you in a direction where you can get a very wise perspective, a very wise approach to your learning, approach to your income, approach to your remuneration in life also. So yeah, the person's hunger and greed will want the person to take wise decisions, but thought through decisions, learned decisions to where will I get high remuneration from, where should I focus on, what jobs to take, what brands to work, who to approach. So this is a person who's clever, intelligent, but also wise to be able to take the right decision. So this is a person who will work hard to not only get higher remuneration, higher savings, higher money in the bank, but also look at trying to save the money rather than spending it all away or trying to splurge the money. So this is on the whole a pretty good placement. This person will also have a good balance between what his family's lineage will be and what the practical world is teaching him outside. So the person will try to balance between what he has learned from his superiors, from especially the elders in the family, and also be able to tread the walk or tread the path of what the practicality in the world is. So overall a good placement for higher prosperity also coming into the life, your ability to deal with family members, with your community members also, how you are able to manifest learning from them, at the same time being worldly also is a very, very good placement. So if you have Jupiter in the second house from Rahu, you have only a good opportunity, especially looking at the materialism, materialistic success connected to your livelihood, connected to your remuneration, connected to more money in the bank also. Use this well and see how this can prosper you to a large extent without any big roadblock in your progress. Now when Jupiter goes into the third house from Rahu, third house is also the house of your communication, your effort, your self-enterprise, your ability, how you influence others, how you market yourself, brand yourself with others. And what is Rahu? Rahu is your hunger, your greed, your ability to be able to work towards materialistic success, the shrewdness, the tact, the ability to be able to be diplomatic and using an innovative and a very unorthodox approach to be able to get success. And Jupiter is your large-heartedness, the wisdom, the learning, your belief, your ability to be able to be more spiritual and to be more liberal also in your thoughts, having a very wide perspective also towards life. So when Jupiter goes into the third house from Rahu, this is the person who focuses on wisdom-oriented communication while also looking at where do I gain from. So this is a person who in their communication will also be able to play the balance between where they need to use the tact, where they need to show diplomacy, what words to use, what words to avoid, and they will also be able to cater their communication to the person that they're talking with or the situation in which they are, and very shrewdly, very wisely they will be able to use their communication, their effort to be able to get good gains for themselves and for the people around them, maybe their department and the team members also. And this is also a person who also wants to have more freedom in how they operate. So if you have Jupiter in the third house from Rahu, this person also wants to have enough freedom to be able to work on their own. This person may not want that, give me all authority, but enough authority so that I should feel that I am flexible enough. And this is also a person sometime who will give unsolicited advice to people. So either people come to this person for advice, asking what should I do, maybe a shoulder to cry on, but many times this person will also feel the urge to explain to people, tell people, this is what you should do, this is what you're doing wrong, so this is what you should focus on. So overall, a good placement for being able to push for getting some degree of flexibility, some degree of authority, some degree of ability to be able to use your own effort to make gains also. This can also be a person who also wants to have more freedom in their service or wanting to go out on their own and maybe to do their own business also. This is also a person who will use their own marketing and branding to be able to influence others so that good gains can come to everybody along with their effort and their communication skills. So overall, a good placement, as long as you're ready to put in the effort, as long as you are able to cater to the communication skills, how you're dealing with people, excellent results, but only after a sustained effort built over a period of time. Now when Jupiter goes into the fourth house from Rahu, what is Jupiter? Jupiter is your faith, your learning, your large-heartedness, your ability to learn from your experiential learning also, but also it is higher prosperity, higher gains, spirituality even. And what is Rahu? Rahu is your shrewdness, your tact, your diplomacy, your ability to use unusual means, even shortcuts or unusual effort to be able to get results. Rahu also denotes the high degree of innovation, even creativity, or out of the box thinking to get the results that you want, to manifest the results not only for you but for your team, maybe for your department or for the organization. So when Jupiter goes into the fourth house from Rahu, Rahu being your karma for your life and the fourth house being the house of assets, the house of your domestic life, your happiness, your mental peace. So here Jupiter tends to try to be a wise person in focusing on the efforts of the fourth house connected to your karma. But Rahu is your hunger, your greed. So Rahu wants the materialistic success in terms of assets, in terms of your happiness, in terms of your peace, in terms of your domestic environment. So this is a person who tries to get their pound of flesh from the family while also trying to contribute. So this is a person who will be looking at, okay, I do so much for the family. Does the family stand by me? Does my spouse also support me when I'm going through a tough situation in life? When I go home, do I find peace, tranquility, or there is a lot of disturbance in the home? So this is a person who wants to keep the home environment happy, peaceful, works towards it. But if the person finds, in spite of his or her effort, they are not able to get that environment at home, then they will also put their foot down and also push back the person who is causing that challenge or that situation or that disturbance in the house. So this is a person who will be trying to manifest the best results from home, from their domestic life, getting the peace and tranquility at home, focus on assets, building assets also. But this is not a person who will chase assets blindly and try to use shortcuts to be able to get assets. But this is a person who will do a balance, that what kind of house I'm living, how much money should I invest in the home or in an investment, to what kind of quality of life I can bring in the home within the four walls. So it's a balance between assets bringing, making assets, using your diplomacy, your tendency, along with your ability to be able to take wise decisions, but at the same time being also a person who can balance the domestic life, the peace, the tranquility, the happiness of the family, while keeping your needs also at attention and not being giving in more than you think you can chew. Now when Jupiter goes into the fifth house from Rahu, this is a fantastic placement, because one way when Jupiter goes into the fifth house from Rahu, Jupiter is under the fifth aspect of Rahu, whereas Jupiter is also aspecting Rahu back with its ninth aspect. This is a fantastic placement to be able to use your intellect, your education, your ability to learn, your ability to use your qualification to be able to get a lot of good results prosperity and the power and influence also. So if you have Jupiter in the 5th house from Rahu, Rahu's hunger, greed to manifest good results, to focus on the karma of your life, to get a good standing in life, in society, all that is at attention. And Jupiter says, okay, let me use my learning, my qualification, my experiential learning and also my wisdom to be able to get good results while trying to keep the hunger and greed under control. So because the 5th house is also the 8th house from the 10th house, so many times a lot of opportunities also keep coming to the person, or the person keeps an open eye that where am I getting an opportunity for, either in investments or to change the job or to get a good role or to get into bigger companies. So this is the person who has the eyes open, who has the ear to the ground, trying to know what's going on and using their learning, their ability to be able to get the information from the environment and to use it to their advantage. This is also a good placement where you can build investments over a period of time as long as you're able to keep the Rahu's energy in check. But if you are overly engrossed by Rahu's energy, then you may also take not so very wise decisions in investments and may also go through losses. So many times with this placement, a person first goes through losses in their investments, in their romance, in their ability to attract attention, in their romantic endeavors, and then only after going through sometimes some slippages, falling to the ground, injuring their feelings, their emotions, then learning and then being able to deal with the situation better. A good placement of good power, energy coming to you, influence coming to you over a period of time, and a fantastic placement for media presence to be able to go out and also to showcase your skills to the outside world, combining the energy of Rahu and Jupiter as well. Now when Jupiter goes into the 6th house from Rahu, this is a good placement for somebody who has a service orientation or who's working under somebody or working for an organization, especially because Rahu is the karma for this life. Rahu is also your hunger, your greed, your materialistic desires. So when Jupiter goes into the 6th house from Rahu, this can be a tricky situation also, but many times in the toughest of situations which challenge you go through because of Jupiter being in the 6th house from Rahu. So the sudden issues, the problems, the competition that comes to you, or people who are trying to put you down, there you are able to contend with that situation with your ability to keep your wisdom intact and not lose your grounding. So a person in the toughest of situation who uses their intellect, who uses their learning, who uses their ability to be able to harness their relations and to be able to keep themselves grounded and to take wise decisions, that comes to their help, and use the experiences to keep the challenges at bay. Many times this can also, in some cases also, especially over a period of time, attract a person to not be very good in their hygiene connected to their discipline, especially connected to the eating habits. So many times this person may not be able to control their eating habits, and usually they may not have the healthiest of habits, and sometimes they may also develop chronic ailments over a period of time, sometimes weight problems also, sometimes hormonal challenges also, sometimes even diabetes or sugar related challenges over a period of time. So with this placement, try and keep a more disciplined life, try to keep a disciplined effort, use your wisdom not only in your eating habits, in your health, in your discipline, but also how you are able to manifest the competition, those people who are working behind your back to put you down. So using your spirituality or spiritual approach, your learning, your large-heartedness, your wise counsel, and your liberal thinking, and then being able to overcome challenges, issues, and being more disciplined in your service, in your career, and then manifesting results over a period of time in this placement. Usually this is also good placement where you can easily get into debts or getting loans from people or from banks also. So if you have this placement, be a little careful how you are getting into debts or when you're taking loans, because that can be easier to take but difficult to part away with. So work hard on your service in your career, through that do well, and if you're focused there and if you're disciplined, then there is not much to fear from this placement, but only goods to be got over a period of time, goodness to be got over a period of time, especially connected to service on your career. Now when Jupiter goes into the 7th house or the 7th placement from Rahu, this is an excellent placement because Jupiter has a strong 7th aspect, whereas Rahu doesn't have the strong 7th aspect. So Jupiter's aspect on Rahu keeps the hunger, the greed of Rahu, the materialistic desire of the materialistic demeanor of Rahu in check. So the individual will be able to use their wisdom, their learning, their qualifications, the experiential learning also to be able to keep the hunger and greed at check, but to also draw from that learning, draw from that energy, draw from the hunger and the greed to be able to work on partnerships and how they deal with others on a day-to-day basis, how they're working with others to be able to get very good results. So fantastic placement when Jupiter is in 7th house from Rahu to work on their connections, to work on their acquaintances, to work on their relations, to be able to use both the tact, the hunger and greed to extract better results from that team, and to also to be able to deal wisely with them. So very good placement when Jupiter goes 7th from Rahu for businesses, for ability to work with others in a partnership, in a give and take relationship, and get the best results both for yourself and the others. However, sometimes the challenge is because when Jupiter goes 7th from Rahu, Jupiter is placed with Ketu. So initially you have to part away with goodness, part away with your money, part away with results for others first before you manifest results in the long run. If you are ready to do that, if you are ready to bid your time, if you are patient and ability to work and balance your relations with others, focus on the team, focus on the relationship, focus on the connection, then over a period of time, placement of excellent results coming to you in your marital relationship, in your partnership, in your team effort, and ability to work with people on a day-to-day basis to manifest results for them as well as for you. Now when Jupiter goes into the 8th house from Rahu, this is a very transformative placement. Why? Because Rahu is your karma for this life. Rahu is where you need to be able to perform in this life. Jupiter is your ability to take wise decisions, to be liberal, where your faith and belief is, where your learning is. So when Jupiter is in the 8th house from Rahu, Jupiter learns from the obstacles, Jupiter learns from the failings, Jupiter learns from the shortcomings and uses that wisdom to then overcome the challenges, the problems, issues over a period of time in the long run. But here the person has to go through upheavals, through challenges, through problems, and then to be able to transform their thinking, their ability to how they need to deal with situations, through issues, and then to be able to keep a sane head, to keep a wise head to overcome those issues. Many times the good gains come to them or good results come to them only when they are ready to change, only when they are ready to transform. So a placement where the person uses his or her ability to learn, situational learning, experiential learning, transform their perspective, transforms how they see the world, transform how they see their relations, transform how they deal with people on a day-to-day basis, transforms how they overcome challenges, and then gets very, very good results in the long run for the person. Usually a good placement for specifically for people who are working in finances, people who are also in sports, people who are also in the consulting business also, or advising business also, specifically connected to analysis, to money, to finances, to insurance. A very good placement overall. So if you're ready to bid your time, if you're ready to be able to be patient even in the toughest situations, toughest of problems, and ready to transform your ability to think and to have a different perspective, to have a different approach to problems, challenges, issues, and how you are able to get the material results from life, then you can get good results, transformative results also, working hard over a period of time, as long as you are able to keep the wisdom and focus rather than your hunger and greed. Now when Jupiter goes into the 9th house from Rahu, this is one of the best placements for Jupiter, because Jupiter in the 9th house from Rahu, which is your karma for this life, and Jupiter does very well in the 9th house. 9th house is the natural house for Jupiter. It is also the Murtikora sign of Jupiter, which is the Sagittarius energies. So when Jupiter goes 9th from Rahu, 9th from your karma, the focus of your life, then Jupiter also tries to learn the best in life, in your manifestation, specifically whichever house Jupiter is placed in, and from Rahu, person tries to get the highest experience, higher learning, and tries to get the wise counsel, learning from the mistakes of others, and also gaining from the wisdom of the elders, gaining from the experiences of those people who are wiser than them, learner than them, older than them, and using or drawing from that experience, drawing from the learning, then does very well in life. So this is a placement where the person is ready to learn, ready to be able to acquire the wisdom, the higher wisdom, and then be able to get or manifest very good gains. An excellent placement for long distance travel, to be able to get a number of different qualifications, to be able to come out as a guru, as an expert in your field, and using your competence, higher learning, then to be able to manifest the gains, the Rahu hunger that Rahu manifests to you or tries to manifest for you, in specifically how the Rahu is placed. And the 9th from Rahu means Jupiter will use that hunger and greed and combine the wisdom in a focused, attentive, learning oriented approach to be able to get higher gains. So good placement for overall results, not only in to be able to draw from your learning, but also in foreign lands, connected to different cultures, going the distance, and also to be able to work out of foreign lands or with foreign companies, to be able to then manifest the material gain that you want from your connections, from your learning, and from the hunger and greed that Rahu gives you and the higher wisdom that Jupiter gives you. Now when Jupiter goes into the 10th house from Rahu, Rahu is your karma for this life. Rahu is your focus for this life. Rahu is where you need to perform. So when Jupiter, your wisdom, your large-heartedness, your ability to learn, your faith and belief, your spirituality, your higher qualification, your experiential learning goes into the 10th house from Rahu. So Jupiter's placement in the 10th house, which means your karma is activated with the wise counsel, with the higher competency, with the higher learning, even a spiritual approach to life itself. So Rahu is the karma for this life, but Jupiter has gone into the 10th house from your karma, that planetary energy of Rahu which is focused on your karma. So here Jupiter says that in your career, in your karma, in a day-to-day life, use your higher wisdom to be able to get best gains, both in your karma and on a day-to-day life basis, also in day-to-day interaction also. So this is a good placement specifically from your career, where you're working with your superiors, with your team members, with higher ups, also with a certain degree of wisdom, but also tact and diplomacy. I've usually seen when Jupiter goes 10th from Rahu, these people have the tact, the diplomacy to be able to overcome challenges and issues through using their wisdom. These are people who will not talk much, but be able to learn and imbibe from their surroundings, know what the power centers are, then using their wisdom, using their competence, using their high expertise to be able to then showcase what they are made of, and then be able to also perform in those roles, and then be able to get the superiors also on their side. So initial life, usually the credit is not coming easy to them, because the hunger and greed of the superiors is also in focus. They want to get the best for themselves. So the attention towards you, the credit given to you, the appreciation giving to you comes late. But once you are able to balance between the hunger and greed that Rahu is giving you, but able to use the tact, the diplomacy, the wisdom specifically connected to work, specifically connected to career, then you will be able to use that tact, the diplomacy, and the expertise and the guru-like energy, the highly competent energy, to do excellently well in your career, in your work. So if you're ready to bid your time, if you're patient, you're ready to work on the relations with your superiors, to your higher ups, and ready to be able to learn and become one of the best which the business is able to throw at you, then one of the best placement to go into the highest occurrence in your organization, and to be able to reach the highest designation also in your organization. So if you have Jupiter in the 10th house from Rahu, not only in your career, in your karma, you will be able to do very well, but also be able to get huge gains in a stature in society, in your standing in society, built over a period of time, built with patience and with wisdom. Now when Jupiter is in the 11th house from Rahu, 11th house is the house of masses. 11th house is the house of your social connection, the social network, the larger society, the social responsibility, the social causes, working in large organization. So when Jupiter is in the 11th from Rahu, Rahu is your karma for this life. Rahu is your focus in your life. Rahu is where you need to perform in this life, whereas Ketu is where you have already done that and been there. So when Jupiter goes into the 11th from Rahu, so Rahu's strong hunger and greed for social connections, or to be able to get gains in your social connections, from your social network, is strong. But Jupiter being in the 11th from Rahu, which means you are very wise how you connect with the social world, how you connect with the outside world. And if you are able to generate those good relations, those good connections, to be able to establish the good network, then you will keep focusing there. However, many times this person will also go into a shell if they don't find that they are able to get gains, or they are not able to get along with people. So this is a person who can either be a good extrovert or completely an extrovert on one side, or sometimes can be a complete introvert also on one side, depending on how they are brought up, how their social perspective is, and how society is also treating them. So if this is a person who is a very strong extrovert, then this person can make huge gains while trying to get the gains for themselves, but also using the wisdom to be able to give back to society, to give back to the social network, to give back to the social connection, and also to work towards the social cause. So this person will use their competence, the ability to learn, and the ability to be able to create those social connections, to create those acquaintances, and then be able to get a lot of gains for self and give maximum back to society, working for a large societal cause also. So many times people who are experts, gurus, teachers, consultants, guides, and then through their expertise are able to get to the highest levels in society as well as in your work, is this placement. People who are seen as huge gurus, as people who can lead masses with their expertise, with their competence in this placement. So people who can rise to highest levels in education institutes, in an organization, having that reputation that this is the guru, this is the person who really knows and can also guide us, teach us, and can lead us, comes to this person. So if you have Jupiter in the 11th house from Rahu, use your wisdom, use your hunger that Rahu gives you to your advantage, being able to play the balance between what you need and what society is also able to get from you, where you can contribute. And if you are able to do that, sustain work over a period of time, one of the best places for use social network, success coming to you, mass success to you coming to you, and the mass adulation also coming to you in your ability to connect with society. Now when Jupiter is in the 12th house from Rahu, Rahu is your focus and attention and your karma for this life. Jupiter is your spirituality. Jupiter is your learning, your faith, your large-heartedness, your wise counsel, your ability to get higher qualification, but also to learn from your experiential learning. So when Rahu goes into the 12th house from Rahu, your karma, so this is the person who will be very large-hearted and try to understand the meaning of life. What am I doing? Why am I here? What am I able to get in this life? What am I able to obtain at a spiritual level? What am I going to do? Where am I going to contribute? And am I on the right track? Am I able to know what my purpose of life is? Am I able to get the best results what life has shown me or asked me to get as an objective? So this is a person who is very objective oriented, but at the same time very spiritual. This is not a very religious person, but this is a spiritual person. In every action of theirs, while they are focused on the hunger, the greed that Rahu throws at them and wants to get their pound of flesh, but at the same time they are spiritual enough, they are wise enough, they are grounded enough to know that everything is not about materialism. Relationships are important, connections are important, giving back is important, charity is important, philanthropy is important. So many a time these people, while trying to extract their pound of flesh, they are also very spiritual in how much material manifestation they are chasing. So they may chase a little materialism, but they may not completely get lost or get drowned in the materialistic fervor which Rahu may throw them. So this is a person who is able to balance between what the hunger and greed of the karma is, but also the spiritual denotation of Jupiter. So this is a person who usually may start off being very, very materialistic, changing materialistic desires, chasing materialistic success, assets, but slowly over a period of time loses the interest in the materialism of the world, in trying to get to shortcuts or through shortcuts to be able to get success, and slowly becomes more and more spiritual as time passes. Wants to give back to society, wants to contribute, wants to do more for family, wants to leave a strong legacy also, how I will be remembered long time after I am gone. So a person who is looking at spirituality, giving back to society, legacy, and also what moksha, what salvation I can bring. Not only salvation to myself, but also to society or to my connection, to my family at least, when I'm gone. So a person who will be able to leave a strong legacy through the example, through their competency, but also the ability to give back, to leave back not only through their learning, through the example, but also leave back to society, so that society also remembers them as what their contribution is over a period of time. So if you're truly spiritual, if you're looking at that in the fag end of my life, I should be focused on more spiritual means to be able to gain spiritually, and also to be able to focus on the salvation, on the higher meaning of life, on the higher goals in life, then this is an excellent placement which can give you on the starting path of your life huge material success, but very spiritual denotation, very spiritual focus in the later part of your life, maybe correct at moksha itself. So friends, now that we have focused on or talked about or discussed how Jupiter in the 12 houses from Rahu will bring in different manifestations, different results, different opportunities for you, please check where Jupiter is placed in which house from Rahu, and which house Rahu is placed and which house from Rahu Jupiter is placed. Also look at what doshas or yogas they are forming, what aspects they are in, and what conjunctions they are in, because those will also bring in their own flavors to the Rahu Jupiter denotation. So friend, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.